Can you hear me now?
Yes, Anna, amazing. Thank you. Can I connect you with that account to your channel?
Yeah, in the computer I'm as an audience, but I got logged in on my phone. But it's not giving me the option of going to Spanish, English.
You have an echo, Anna.
Morning, Reggie.
Uri namake, uri namake, uri da upaya.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Wednesday. My name is Reggie Hubbard, and I'm your host for today's panel. In our village, how do we stop exploiting our planet is the theme, taking on discussions about the extractive industry writ large, but also how we as a community, a global grassroots community, can come together and stop this. It's within our power, and it's also our time to do so. A bit of housekeeping before I get started. All panelists, please speak slowly. If anyone out there has any comments, use the Q&A feature. It will be in Spanish, Portuguese, and English, and it will be found in the toolbar as a globe. All events will be recorded, and this is live, so anything can happen. Again, welcome to our village. It's about connectivity, networking, and solutions with a focus. We're not just talking about things, we're bringing people together and make things happen. This is organized by, if not us, then who, in partnership with the Hip Hop Caucus and the Guardians of the Forest, who are, and the Guardians of the Forest have a special place in my heart, so I won't wax too eloquently, but I love them. They're indigenous peoples and territorial communities from across the Amazon basin, Brazil, Indonesia, and Mesoamerica, representing 400 million hectares of tropical forest around the world. They advocate for the respect of territorial rights and inclusion in their demands in global negotiations for forest and climate change. The alliance is made up of 4 territorial organizations: the Indigenous Peoples Alliance of the Archipelago, AMAN, Mesoamerican Alliance for Peoples and Forests, AMPB, the Articulation of Indigenous Peoples of Brazil, APAB, and the Coordinator of Indigenous Peoples of the Amazon Basin, COICA. We're living in times of extreme volatility and transformation, especially in the United States, where I'm from. a time where people are rising up against old power structures and demanding that justice be truly for all, not just the powers that be. In the United States, the coronavirus pandemic has shown well-known vulnerabilities that exist in the healthcare system, as well as cultural norms that accentuate individuality over the needs of everybody. And in terms of response to the murder of George Floyd at the hands of Minneapolis law enforcement, we are witnessing a beautiful, inspirational uprising for social and racial justice focused on our shared humanity, a vocal expression that we are no longer going to take the destructive, white supremacist, disposable, extractive, exploitative cultural norms with respect to communities of color. This uprising is forcing us as a nation to reckon with the question of how we stop exploiting, demonizing, and devaluing one another. And to me, that's a natural segue for our conversation today about extractive industries. How do we uproot a philosophy that solely prizes economic gain over human life? How do we speak truth to power, individually and collectively, that forces better behavior from banks and industries that have shown little care or concern about indigenous communities from the extractive piece, or communities of color with respect to like environmental degradation and chemical processing and all the things? And who are the people, campaigns, and organizations doing the good work of disrupting exploitative and extractive practices and business models for the benefit not only of their communities, but in so doing, they affirm our common humanity and the power of collective resistance. Collective resistance is something that is near and dear to my heart. As an activist and organizer and progressive political strategist, my life's work is centered around empowering individuals to use their energy and voices to organize collective action and catalyze transformative political change. As someone who has been in the collective resistance against Donald Trump since 2015, but since he took office in 2017, I have seen the power of organizing, storytelling, community engagement to protest, demand change, and actually bring about that change. In our instance, we flipped the House in 2019, we impeached the MF in 2019, and with God's grace, we'll get him out in 2020. Before we get going on today's program, I'm also a yoga teacher and a meditation teacher. So I think it's important for us, for any discussion that we have, that we get grounded and rooted. So I want us to be rooted in this moment, in our community, in our breath, and in the intention of learning how we can do our part to honor those who came before us and serve those who come after us. Of the many problems I have with extractive and exploitative paradigm in industry, but also in politics, the main problem I have is that it's self-absorbed and only focused on today. No thought about tomorrow, no reverence for sovereignty or for ancestral values, and no concern for the value and dignity of human life. We can do better than this, and not only can we do better, we have to. So before we begin today's program, let's spend a moment in silent contemplation. So wherever you are, sit tall and either close your eyes or soften your gaze. Allow the breath to become a little bit deeper. And spend a moment giving honor and gratitude to those that came before us, our ancestors who made it possible for us to be here now. To spend a moment in gratitude. Now shift your concentration to those who come after us. What world will we be leaving them? And in conclusion, how can we move forward from this grounded place to do the work necessary to upend destructive, extractive, exploitative norms and replace them with more just, sustainable, holistic, and nurturing ones. And for those of you that are tempted to think this is impossible or are afraid for whatever reason, I'm here to tell you one thing. Now is not a time for our fears. It's a time to be fierce. I'll say that again. Now is not a time to live in fear. It's a time to be fierce, courageous, and bold. With that, let's transition to our first panel, Stopping the Money Pipeline, Indigenous-Led Efforts to Defund Fossil Fuels. I'm joined in this panel with Dallas Goldtooth, Sister Bernadette, I'm not even going to pronounce your last name because I believe and respect people's names, and Tara Huska. I'd like to start with opening statements of around 5 minutes or so and begin with Tara. And so let's talk about where we are, who you are, what you bring, what you've been doing in the movement. Just because when I do these things, I just assume that people don't know anything. So share a little bit with us about who you are, where you're from, and some of the work that you're doing, the great work that you're doing in stopping the money pipeline in your particular area. Tari, let's go.
Uju Ginawa, good morning. Shabawekwe Indigenous Makwa Dudame, Goching and Dunjaba. My name is Tara Hauska. I'm Bear Clan from Couchiching First Nation. I was born right outside of right in International Falls, Minnesota. It's on the Canadian-U.S. border between Minnesota and Ontario. I have been living in a Line 3 pipeline resistance camp for the last 2 years. We're about 200 yards off the proposed Line 3 route. It's a tar sands line coming from Alberta. It's one of 3 major tar sands lines proposed. So Keystone XL, Line 3, and Trans Mountain pipelines are all those fights are taking place in tandem, as many pipeline fights tend to. In addition to the many other fracked gas, natural gas, LNG, all the things that are happening across Turtle Island and across the world. I'm on the steering committee for the Stop the Money Pipeline. I've been involved in divestment work for a number of years now, meeting with banking institutions, protesting banking institutions, attending shareholder meetings, shutting down shareholder meetings, doing all the things in between, and making sure that we maintain presence here in the actual physical space of the front line, right? Like the front line of protection of standing with our mother in a different way than perhaps most don't. This is a lot different kind of engagement when it comes to a lot of climate justice work. I think people that are in these communities oftentimes are very isolated, and it's important for us to build community and to strengthen our presence in these spaces, and to, like you said, to not be afraid and to have courage. So, you got
Tara, thank you for that, and thank you for your work, and look forward to hearing more about the beautiful work that you're doing. Would like to now pass the mic to Brother Dallas Goldtooth. Dallas, tell us from a 30,000-foot perspective, what's happening in the movement as you see it, and then a little bit about what's happening in the good work you're doing with your organization. Remember to keep it slow for our translators, and you're up.
Thank you very much. Greetings. Good morning from where I am. I'm on traditional Menominee, Potawatomi, Anishinaabe, Sac and Fox lands, what is so-called Chicago. My name is Dallas Goldtooth, and I'm an organizer with the Indigenous Environmental Network. 30,000 feet, the big picture. We're in a critical moment right now where this movement is putting an incredible amount of pressure on those who are providing money to fossil fuel companies to poison and plunder Mother Earth. We're putting pressure on those companies who are actively choosing to disregard Indigenous rights, who are actively choosing to poison Black and Brown and Indigenous communities all across the world. And we're sending a message that if you're giving money or if you're providing any type of financial support for a company to do these things, then your hands are just as dirty.
Mm-hmm.
And so the three pillars of this fight right now that I see it as the three pillars of this fight to bring down the fossil fuel regime is the banks who are providing the loans and the financing. Then there you have the insurance companies. You have insurance companies, companies need the insurance in order to get the loan. So we're going after the insurance companies who are providing insurance. And then we're going after the asset managers. These are large scale corporations and companies who manage money for other companies who have hands in all different types of the economic system. And we're holding all three of
¿Qué me
these
dice
pillars
Talía?
accountable for their support of this effort. I just put names to it, because I think we just say it and we don't have names to it. In the banking world, the top dog that is contributing, that is like the number one target is Chase Bank. It's that doesn't absolve all the other banks. Every major financial institution has its hands in oil, has its hands in natural gas or coal or what have you. On the insurance sector, our organization is going after Liberty Mutual Insurance. Liberty Mutual Insurance is providing the insurance for the Trans Mountain pipeline up in Canada. It is also providing insurance for the Keystone XL pipeline that is crossing territories of the Oceti-Sakowin people. And in the world of asset managing, the biggest baddie in the world is a company called BlackRock. BlackRock has its hands literally in every single major financial institution in the world. It has its hands in the destruction of the Amazon. It has greatly contributed to the death of indigenous peoples in the global south and in the global north. So that's the big picture. Our organization, IEN, is very involved and is trying to ramp up our involvement even more in this fight for divestment, to really hold these institutions accountable. At the same time, advocating for us to step away from the fossil fuel regime and develop regenerative economies on our own terms, supporting Black, Brown, and Indigenous communities who are trying to try to establish their self-determination to decide what happens to their bodies, what happens to their businesses, what happens to their homes, what happens to their air, their water, their land. And that's where we're at. We're trying to fight the bad and build the good. And I'm so happy that you're a part of this to help learn more about it. So I'll
Thank you,
check there.
Dallas. Yeah, thank you, Dallas, and thank you, Tara. It seems as though our other panelist is delayed, so we're just going to just dive in. What I want to do is, first of all, thank you for the education and thank you for your good work that you're doing. Again, I try to do a lot of these panels from a standpoint that no one knows anything. So this question is coming from that place. Don't think I'm this silly or stupid, but what's the big deal about it's just a loan, right? Like, why are we so upset about, like, it's just a bank and a loan? Like, who cares, right? Like, so why would you want to stop a loan? It's just a loan, right? That's tongue in cheek, but
Tara,
for those people that are just learning, like, whoever wants to go first.
Well, I guess we can take turns or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say, it's just a loan. Well, this capitalistic society and extractive industry that we're fighting depends on capitalism to exist, which means it depends on money, right? It's an industry of money. And the reason that this specific tactic is one that, myself and many others have found very useful over decades of work trying to defund these specific industries, is, they don't really listen to morality, but they listen to money. When it hits them in the wallet, then they feel it. when you're sitting across the table from the stakeholders and the actual impacted parties who are telling you, hey, you have a climate change policy, and you also have an indigenous peoples policy that talks about free, prior, and informed consent. Yet your institution isn't directly loaning and lending literally millions or billions of dollars to a project that is vehemently opposed by all of these nations. And here's all the lawsuits and oppositional papers to demonstrate that, right? It becomes something where you are trying to stop the flow of money, but also to stop the the fruition of these projects. It's there's a whole bunch of different angles, right? Like there's the regulatory process where they're going through and trying to get permits, and they're trying to go through the state, and they're trying to go through the feds. The states and the feds oftentimes are very, very supportive of those efforts. I mean, the laws are written by the same people who are funded by the fossil fuel industries, right? That's the reality. But when you go after the financiers and you go after the insurers, these are people that are forward-facing institutions. They depend on us. They depend on consumers to put our money in and invest it and all that stuff, right? Like they're very much more, I would say, receptive and apprehensive about folks like us showing up in their boardrooms and showing up in their right outside their buildings. Going after the money is an incredibly powerful space, as we've seen with, defund the police was trending on all over the internet this last week. That was amazing to see. Right. There have been people working on that for a long time, and it's like, yes, go after the money, cancel the contracts. That's how you're going to get to them. You're not going to get to them, obviously, through morality. Right. That hasn't happened in many years.
Right. Dallas, what do you have to say? And Tara, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Dallas?
Yeah, just to build off of what Tara is saying, if you look at social inequities, racial disparities across the world, and when you're looking at the issues that are plaguing our communities, you have to have a big picture perspective. If we're talking about prison reform, if we're talking about the fact that in the United States, and it may apply to other places across the world, I'm pretty sure it does, that there's a lot, like there's an unequal amount of Black and brown folks who are locked up, who are behind bars. And now as a society, we're saying, okay, we have to address this, because what that's saying to our communities is that we have a lesser value, that we belong behind bars. That's the message that is being cast out there to the world. And as we try to abolish that system, as we try to rise up against that system, we have to talk about, okay, what are the mechanisms that keep that system going? Yeah. If a prison in the United States, for folks that don't live in the United States, a major issue is that in the United States, a lot of prisons here are privately owned. They're corporations that run it. So they're for-profit companies. And so for them as a company, they have to make profit. And so in order to expand business, in order to get more inmates, in order to grow, which means to lock up more Black and brown people, they need money to do that. They need a loan from a bank to expand their business. And so that is like, okay, let's follow that thread then. Yeah, for sure. Now, a bank has to make a decision saying, oh, this is a good business practice. Let's give money to this because we believe in this prison is going to be able to grow, meaning this prison is going to be able to lock up more people. Therefore, we're going to get a return on profits. They're socially liable for that. They should be held accountable for that as a bank. The same thing applies for climate change and climate justice. What corporations are doing is they're poisoning and diminishing the quality of life for billions of people on this planet. In particular, it is Black and brown and indigenous communities who are feeling the effects the most. At the point of extraction, where they're getting the oil and natural gas out of the ground, and also at the other end of climate change, because a lot of our folks across the world are dependent on the oceans, are dependent on the forests, are dependent on the land in so many different ways. And now because of climate change, they can no longer depend on those sources of income, those sources of sustainability, the sources of food. And for those corporations who are poisoning the planet, they're a for-profit business. Therefore, they need to grow. In order to grow, they need loans. They need the capital in order to expand their operations. And so they go to a bank and say, hey, can you help? Can you chip in? Can you give us some money so that we can expand operations to build this pipeline? And disregard what the indigenous peoples are saying. Let's not pay attention to that. Let's just build this through, because when you give us money, we're going to give you returns. We're going to be able to help you get some money back on this. And the bank has to think and say, okay, yes, I'm going to get money, profits off of that. Profits off the lives of indigenous peoples. So that's reason why we're in this game, to really hold these folks accountable. So it's more than just a loan.
Yeah.
What they're banking on is for indigenous peoples to be silent. They're banking on that our people will not speak up, our people will not rise up or be resistant to these projects. And that's far from the truth. We're standing up.
Yeah, thank you for that general education. Again, like I said, that was tongue in cheek. I clearly don't think that, because I'm at the forefront of a lot of social justice movements, and civil rights in the United States took root with boycotts. Right. So you take the money out. Oh, yeah, you don't have money. Now what, homie? Can we talk? Like, like both y'all said, morality doesn't really play for you. So it seems as though I got to take your money. Now that I got your money and your attention, here's what we require. So no, I totally appreciate that. But for those who are newer to this, I just wanted to get that basic background. I want to shift now to tactics, right? So like, tell me, both of you, in however way you choose to articulate, what are some of the key tactics that have been successful in drawing attention, not only drawing attention, but getting these banks and insurers to divest and to stop this activity? Whoever wants to start.
We can just go back and forth, I guess, since it's just the two of us.
Yep.
I would say that I've been involved with divestment work personally since the movement that happened out in North Dakota at Standing Rock Sioux Reservation. Mm-hmm. Essentially what we were really looking at was, you got 10,000 people that are in the state of North Dakota that are forming this little city, the 13th largest city in that state at that time, which is crazy. But then you've got all of these people around the world that are asking, how do we help? Mm-hmm. If we can't physically be there and we can't physically go and stand in front of these machines, how do we help you? And then there came a point when the police actually cut off that resistance camp physically from the site of the actual pipeline construction. And at that point, I think, a lot of us had been looking at, who are the 17 banks that are funding the Dakota Access Pipeline? And then there started all these divestment actions and these direct actions all over the country, all over the United States and around the world. Who are the banks funding Dakota Access Pipeline? Mm-hmm. These banks are Wells Fargo. These banks are Citibank, Chase. These massive industries, but they were also European banks and several different sovereign wealth funds or whatever. And so that happened. And then there was all this pressure and attention on banks. That's the outside pieces that kind of really, I think, are always meant to drive that conversation, no matter if it's divestment or really anything. It should always come from that ground up approach. But then there's the inside pieces, right? Which is, well, let's have the actual impacted people. Let's have the stakeholders go and meet with these institutions. I myself was part of several delegations of Native women who specifically targeted banks in Europe that have very high human rights standards, mm-hmm. specifically targeting countries that have very high human rights standards, like the Norwegian Oil Fund that's based in Norway. Through those efforts, partnered with the attention and the support of other Native and Indigenous and environmental justice organizers, we're talking to the tune of billions of dollars pulled out of these industries in the span of just a couple of years. That's crazy. A massive influx of, new energy into the divestment movement because it had been happening for a long time. It was mainly at that point a lot of colleges and universities trying to push their their trustees to do the right thing, you know, and like it was a lot of college kids.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you know, that's one tactic, the outside inside. You know, there's also, I think there isn't a very important element of going to the shareholder meetings themselves,
Yeah.
of making the shareholders see your faces and look
Hi.
directly at you.
Yeah.
Exactly. And they don't want to see you, but they do see you, right? And we've done that. I mean, I've done that with the company that I'm fighting, right? I've showed up at Enbridge's shareholder meeting multiple years in a row now. They all know my name. And I'm like, hey guys, how's it going? Still fighting your awful machine. Um, you know, still see you guys out there on the line every couple of days. I'm sure you see us too.
Right.
You know, I think there's that. And then, you know, lastly, I would say, you know, the lawyer side of me also, you know, I think there's a very important, and this is where like the larger organizations with a lot of capacity and a lot of research and a lot of like, you know, staff can be really helpful, which is, you know, one, tracking down who these loans are coming from,
Yeah.
who are the insurers, but then also what are their policies and how can we push for change within that? And how can we present something at the shareholders meeting, a resolution or something like that, for shareholders to start thinking about these things? You know, how do we show up at the Equator Principles working group? The Equator Principles set banking standards around the world, and present them with language of what actually really would make a difference. Because right now the language standards are not good. They don't actually protect, you know, these frontlines communities in a real way. It's just kind of like lip service kind of protection.
Right.
You know, that's a way to try to push change, and corporate accountability. I mean, the legislature is also another route. It's a little tougher when all the legislators are
In the
kind of
pocket.
in bed with those folks, but
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, that's a few.
Okay. Thank you, Brother Dallas. What do you have to offer?
I think that you know, we work with a lot of indigenous communities on the front lines of a wide variety of fights, from LNG and the liquefied natural gas exports down in the United States Gulf Coast region, from folks who are fighting fracking development up in the upper Midwest, up in the Pacific Northwest, you know, down in the Four Corners region of the United States. You know, so we are fighting a wide variety of projects. And so it just makes sense. And also just recognize the fact that the system that we're fighting is multifaceted.
Yeah.
I mean, there's different points of attack. And so it just makes sense that our response would be just as multifaceted.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so, you know, going from the board meetings to people just showing up in office buildings is really what it's about, is just showing up, being public, holding folks accountable, just letting the powers that be, those who are making decisions, letting them know that they're being watched, that people are watching their decision making. That's really what Tara's talking about. That's what we've been seeing across the board, is people just showing up and speaking up to speaking with power, community power, the power of the land itself. So yeah, that's all I guess to add to that.
Cool. Thank you for that. And I appreciate what both of you said with respect to showing up. I'll give you a personal example. In the work I did with grassroots organizers to impeach Donald Trump, in the beginning, people thought we were crazy, but we just kept showing up. We kept showing up, and guess what happened last December? We did it. But in the beginning, people were like, what are you doing? This is crazy. You don't have a shot, blah, 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 blah. Keep showing up. There's strength in numbers, and then there's momentum that happens from that intentionality and showing up. Tara, did you have something you wanted to offer?
I mean, I'm just kind of, you guys are the crazy ones. I mean, seems like in the whole spectrum of crazy,
Yeah,
that there might be one party who's a little more guilty of insanity than the party that's trying to undo the madness that's being installed by that human being on almost a daily basis.
Right.
Yeah.
It's well, the denial is ubiquitous right now. Like denial is everywhere. So it's up to those of us who honor truth to speak loud. There are a couple of good questions from the Q&A from the audience I want to share. One is from whoever you are. Thank you for the question. If I had your name, I'd say it. I'm a college instructor, mostly teaching computer programming. Most of my students will be building or maintaining digital tools, and this instructor is building classes for the fall. What do you think is most important for students to integrate into their knowing? What do you want the next generation of tech developers to offer as a solution? And would that be communication tools for funding collective, microloans? Like, is there a way that this specific community can be of service to your movement?
I mean, y'all are the, yeah, you go first, Alex. You guys are the media collective. We're like the frontlines grassroots fight the machines collective.
Nice. Hell yeah.
So look, you know, there are all of us are trying to find something that's different, right? We're all trying to find a system that works for ourselves and for the land. Like we're just trying to find something that is not exploitive and extractive, and that is, you know, that is predicated upon the oppression of many for the benefit of a few. And so any contribution to that effort to go after, you know, the big banking system, to offer communities a different way of financing that they control, that they have a say in, is awesome, you know. So it's whether it's community loans or community development corporations or helping provide structure for that, that's amazing. Like it's just giving, the question for you as an instructor and all of us is, how are we empowering local frontline communities to make the decisions on their own about where their food comes from, where, you know, how are deciding their housing, and do they have access to housing and the resources to help with housing? So those are all really things that I think we folks can play into, and those in the tech world, obviously, like there's a whole variety of shit that I don't know, but it's all about how are we giving greater power to communities on the ground, whether it's in the most remote village of Alaska up on the coast, to those on down in the Gulf Coast region of the United States, or folks in South Africa or in the Philippines or wherever it may be. Like, how are we empowering communities to take control of their energy, their food, their housing decisions, and support them in that effort?
Thank you, Dallas. Tara,
I would say one other thing. Yeah, as you were speaking, I was thinking about, like, you know, at least from the campaign's perspective of, you know, the massive needs oftentimes of these community voices who are leading these campaigns, and trying to seek support because of lack of capacity. You know, if you're teaching a tech class, I think it would be really helpful. And, you know, it's been a while since I've been in college, but I would hope that at this point we are maybe reaching the trajectory on the tech front of assessing actual, like, you know, campaign tools, like the ones that we use. Like there's Slack out there, right? And there's like these different, like, I mean, obviously Signal's one that's like an encrypted service or whatever, but like, I think, you know, one thing that we run into is we kind of have this like hodgepodge of like different apps. Yeah. Specifically on like the Frontlines front, I mean, I think encrypted apps are super helpful, and they're few and far between. It would be so cool to have like an app that housed information that, you know, partners could drop into a box that's not necessarily Google Docs, which is not the like most secure application in the world. Not at all, right? You're just like, dude, we just had a security like culture talk, and you're dropping like stuff in Google Docs. Like, what are you doing?
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe something like that. Like that would be, you know, for the young minds that are coming up, something that's concrete and useful and encrypted would be great.
Yeah. I also want to like elevate. So this is the title of this is STMP, Stop the Money Pipeline, right? Yeah. So there's questions that folks have you can also go to stopthemoneypipeline.org, where there's a conversation about what to do. Where do you move your money, right? If you have money in a bank. Mind you, I'm going to put it out there. It's very focused on the United States right now. So it's a hard, like, you might not find many resources if you live in other countries, but I think there's a strong movement for people to put their money into credit unions. If you have money in any national bank or any large scale bank, there's a good chance that I'm 99.9% sure that bank has money invested in fossil fuels. And so it is really a big movement to put your money into localized banking systems, whether it's credit unions or other alternatives. I don't know what other options are there in the world and other places outside the United States. So, but yeah, stopthemoneypipeline.org is a good place to go to for at least to start the conversation. And there's a checklist of what you can go through of how to move your money out of a bank.
Yeah, and I want to offer some quick thoughts on that. So think about to the earlier conversation that we had, think about the mission of the financial institution, right? So if the mission of the financial institution is solely for profit, then they don't care necessarily, but community-focused institutions trend towards empowering communities to do more safe and integral integral activities. Like local banks take care of local needs, right? And local communities and small businesses. They're not, I'm just trying to build this pipeline so I can get more money to get a loan to get more money and all these other things. There's a little bit more morality and community focus there, and it's less extractive and less exploitative. So one thing, just to piggyback on what they were saying, local banks are probably better. So if you do have money in a larger institute, well, you can do research. And that's one question, Dallas, that someone had is like, is there a website that people can go on that specifically names the institutions that are the most egregious? Is that Stop the Money Pipeline, or are there other resources that people have that they can check for that?
There is, but I don't remember the internet.
You should go to stopthemoneypipeline.org, and you should go to Rainforest Action Network. There is a report called Banking on Climate Change, and something that we do annually every year, and it literally breaks down by dollars and cents and by industry. So whether it's coal, natural gas, fracking, tar sands, every different extractive industry, mining of precious metals. I mean, it's everything, and which banks are involved in what level, and even to the extent of breaking down which are new investments and not just existing loans. That's again where Chase is the worst bank in the world. In the last 3 years, they've actually increased their investment in the fossil fuel industry by 30%. So in the face of climate change and all this climate campaigning, that's been their response. So please go to that report. Very useful and helpful.
In the chat, if you're on this, there's also people are providing other websites that you could go to. If you live in the UK, there's someone had posted a website that you can go to check out some other options to invest in. I think there's also a website for folks like in Australia and potentially folks in Southeast Asia. There's some websites out there where you can look for those resources. But yes, that report is actually absolutely essential to read.
Yeah, and so just to repeat that, for those of you that are on the Zoom meeting and in the communal chat, there are some of these links, and I'm sure this can be aggregated at the end for those seeking that information. I just want to say for those of you that are out there that may still be a little bit skeptical, just read the reports. Right, the data's there. People wouldn't be this active if it didn't exist, right? So suspend skepticism and get into the data. And once you have the data, make some decisions about what you're going to do with it. Don't just read the report. Use it as an actionable item. Not that you wouldn't, but just I'm an activist and organizer, so I'm always like, don't just read, don't like get out there. Don't just talk about it, be about it. That's my pet. It's not a pet peeve. It's a learning opportunity.
Yeah.
Right. One other question from the crowd is that What, for both of y'all, what message do you have for other indigenous communities that are facing these sorts of threats? Like if they haven't had an opportunity to be as organized, or if they're in situations where, just what advice would you have, or what message would you have for other communities that are facing these threats?
Go ahead, Tara. I'll jump in after.
I mean, I guess, you know, when I think about Native people and I think about where we're at in the planetary conversation of human beings and our existence, 80% of the world's remaining biodiversity is in indigenous lands and indigenous hands. 80%, right? And we're still largely absent from almost all of these global conversations on climate. We are still largely relegated to photo opportunities and to like kind of colorful pictures. But the reality in actuality is that we are holding that in our ways, in our culture, and our practices, and our deep connection to the earth. You know, I think that I know that around the world, we all have differing structures that we have to, you know, that we are stuck within, different colonial structures of land holdings. You know, there's various kind of, you know, a whole spectrum of recognition of sovereignty, of, you know, trust land, of non-trust land, of territory, of all these different legal definitions. I hope that we can work hard with our partners to help them to understand just how critical the control of indigenous lands in indigenous hands is. That our partners recognize that when we talk about rights of nature, we're actually talking about the survival of humankind and not just our own. That we are not engaging in, you know, this not in my backyard NIMBY style of organizing. We're talking about the survival of biodiversity and like our species. And so the empowerment of indigenous peoples is the empowerment of us all. That we are a canary in the mine. And that I think, although we are not yet in a position of leading those conversations, I think that we are progressing far enough that our partners have started to look at us and say, you know, maybe you should speak too, and not just kind of stand there and look good for our pictures. And maybe we could partner on something, and maybe that's getting a, you know, meeting with a banking institution that's funding some awful project in your territory, but maybe that's also them working with your people to figure out, how do we actually change that narrative around land? How do we strengthen and repair or enhance your sovereignty and your sovereign status over your own land? You know, I think that those potential relationships are there, and building out that network of, you know, attorneys and policymakers and NGOs and all those different groups that are working on so many different things to present to them, this is what happens when our territory is fully recognized as our own. Right. This is what happens globally when that happens. So yeah, I guess really work on building networks and you know, all the love always.
Yeah, thank you, sister. Brother Dallas.
Yeah, it's a good question. Great answer Tara provided. I think all right, there's two parts, and maybe part of this is I'm a backtrack to a previous question. Yeah. To that teacher who's working with folks that are developing different tools, right? You know, there's been an amazing amount of tools and work done around how to build successful campaigns, how to build a campaign to influence, you know, decision makers. And I would love to see us, you know, just share the shit out of those guides of, like, in different languages, and see where there might be that those guides may not be available to other communities, whether they're remote indigenous communities or not. So I think that's just giving more information on people how to organize, how to build power is really great. To someone that's in the thick of it, one is just to say you're not alone. And what you're experiencing, what your community is going through is not just something that you're not by yourself in this. There's countless other Native communities, indigenous communities who are fighting the same thing, and we need to work together. We need to band together. We need to organize together. That's really what it comes down to, is building a bigger, stronger, unified group in front. It's hard though. I'm gonna tell you now, for those that don't live or work in indigenous communities, it can be very, very hard, because a lot of times, just because of the way colonization works, because of this damn system, this damn colonial system, is that a lot of our economies, the way a lot of our communities make money, is dependent upon the extractive industry itself sometimes. Like the only jobs people can get are mining jobs sometimes, or the only way you can make a living is if you feed into the very extractive industry that we're trying to fight against. That is some of the most difficult conversations that we have, is how do we break ourselves free when we're dependent upon that system to feed us? And there's no easy answer to that. It's not clear cut. This is just a insight for those who are allies, to understand you have to be mindful of the nuance of it all.
It's a perfect segue into two things quickly. Like, in the same way that the national conversation about like allyship with like Black and brown communities and the murder of Brother Floyd, like, white folks, y'all got to step up and talk about everybody, right? Like, if your silence is killing Black and brown people, it's also doing it to my indigenous brothers and sisters as well. Like, your silence is complicit in that. No more. Please, like, speak up, but with the nuance that Brother Dallas is talking about. So the segue before we close is, in terms of allyship, what is the least helpful thing that people can do right now? And what is the most helpful thing? So let's start with the least, because, everyone's got all these good intentions, but still be fucking up sometimes. So, like, what is the least helpful thing that folks can do? And then we want to end positively. What's the most helpful thing? And then we'll have concluding statements. Whoever wants to go. Least helpful.
I feel like I'm talking to a global audience here, right?
Yeah,
so
you are.
There are people all across the world who are watching this.
Yep.
So what I'm about to say is coming from my perspective as an indigenous person within the so-called United States of America.
Seriously.
What does not help, I guess, is I don't know how to properly phrase it, because this is a great question, and I'm trying to figure out way to say this, is oftentimes allies of indigenous peoples emphasize on the cultural and spiritual aspect of our people, and not necessarily on the actual living lives of our people. So there's an obsession with indigenous spirituality and sharing that and experiencing that, but there's not a deep investment in protecting the actual lives of indigenous peoples from destruction and death by state-sanctioned violence. That's where we need folks to step up. You want to burn sage in your home? Okay. You want to have an ayahuasca ceremony? Like, let's really get down to it. How are you helping indigenous peoples protect their homes? How are you helping indigenous peoples protect the land itself for the benefit of every single person on this planet? Like, get beyond your own individual consumption of indigenous culture and invest in indigenous life.
For someone who didn't have the words, that was pretty damn dope. Tara.
I'll speak from the perspective of an indigenous person who lives in a camp. And so there's lots of allies who come in and varying levels of skill and knowledge. We go through that decolonizing talk every single time someone new shows up. Oftentimes we have to go through that talk a number of times. There is a tendency, like Dallas said, of folks wanting to consume indigenous wisdom while trying to place us into some preconceived notions of what we're supposed to be in order for them to be getting what they want from us when they're supposed to be there in allyship, right? I would say that I think, there's a need to listen and learn how to listen. Learning how to listen is a lifelong process. It's not something that you're just going to get from, like, I'm not just talking about opening your ears. I'm talking about, teaching someone that, hey, just because you showed up doesn't mean we're just going to be Indian for you in the way that you think that we need to be. Yeah. Right. Or that our community is going to perform for you in the way that you have preconceived in your head. I think there's, we've kind of talked about that, but I would say another thing that is just not helpful is when allies show up with a whole fully developed solution to a problem that they actually don't understand. Know.
Right.
Like, they're just like, well, I saw these statistics and I looked at your community makeup, and I have this amazing thing that I know is going to fix your problem. And you're like, you don't even know what the fuck the problem is, right. Like, come in for a little while, see what we're talking about, and actually listen to people that have been actually probably working on solutions with no funding and no capacity for many, many, many generations.
Right.
So collaborate on ideas. Don't just come in with this is how it should go, and we'll do some consultation with you, the person I'm going to help. But, I got to figure it out. Obviously, I'm a statistician,
Right.
Yeah. Not a good look.
I'd like to add, and this is based on a question that was asked. I just answered in the Q&A because there's folks saying, how can we, and I'm gonna say this because they probably didn't mean it this way, giving them the benefit of the doubt, but the question is, how can we come help? How can we help? How do we come into community to help them as outsiders? My answer to that is that you're working from an assumption that people need outsiders to come into community to help them. Like, recognize that we have agency, like that our communities are doing the work that needs to be done. You need to do your part. And that what we're fighting is a colonial system. That colonial system does not just exist in our community. That colonial system is everything around us. Whether you are 1,000 miles from an indigenous community, or you are in a predominantly white community or predominantly affluent community, you are just a part of that colonial system as we are. And so you have a tremendous role to call that out within your own spaces, because that's honestly sometimes the most impactful thing you can do, is in the spaces of privilege. By calling out the system, you're attacking it from a different perspective that we cannot. Right. We're seeing that in the movement to recognize in the movement for Black Lives Matter, is anti-Blackness permeates all aspects of our society. You don't have to be in a Black community to experience anti-Blackness or to see it. In that we have to be able to call it out in all aspects of our lives in order to be the best and strongest allies. Cool. And the same thing goes for the fight against extraction and the fight against fossil fuel. So your role might be coming to a camp and helping people on the ground. But I think the vast majority of you are going to be supporting by demanding the divestment from fossil fuels in your own areas. One of the ways we found that people can support this struggle is saying, one, divest your personal money. Take your money out of a bank if they're giving it to a fossil fuel company. Another way is get your city, your organization. If you work for a company, a for-profit company, they're investing their money somewhere. Get that company to divest from fossil fuels. Get your city to divest from whatever institution that you're a part of, a greater institution. They all have a part to play in it, and you have to call it out.
We could go all, I hate to do this, but we're a bit over time. We could go all day about this. I want to thank you all for what you had to say. And I want to end with the following, like what Brother Dallas said. We all have our part to play. So now that we have this information, how can we plug in? This is a question for everyone. There are resources in the chat. There are opportunities to get in touch with these groups and be mindful, as we were talking about. But it's time for all hands on deck. Like, the grassroots are taking on an epic struggle between the Wall Street banks and the fossil fuel industry. That's the resistance versus the Death Star, if I ever heard of it. So, like, all hands on deck. Do your part. Thank you for your time, Brother Dallas, Sister Tara. Thank you for your wisdom and being a part of this panel.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Appreciate the space.
Indeed, blessings. And
Yeah.
now let's.
Are we done? Are we out?
We are out. Right. So
I'm gonna
now,
have some breakfast. So
bon appetit.
I'm going to hop on to another call on equity and working together.
Thank you.
Yay.
Yay.
Much love, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful day. Shifting gears to our second panel. Thank you very much for your questions, for all the information. And our second panel is Deadly Extractives and How to Fight Them, a look at community responses and the threat of extractives in their territories. This panel is hosted by Julieta Lambarti from Poder. Julieta, the floor is yours.
Gracias, thank you very much. Este va a ser un panel en español, así que quienes tengan activada su traducción nos avisan cualquier cosa si no está funcionando por el chat. Muchísimas gracias. Les vamos a presentar en este panel algunas reflexiones sobre los proyectos extractivos en las comunidades provenientes de diferentes industrias y antes de comenzar con cada una de las exposiciones de las compañeras que nos acompañan de Perú y de México.
No escucho.
De Perú y de México, vamos a... les voy a dar una pequeña introducción sobre qué vamos a estar hablando, y antes de que participen cada una de las compañeras, vamos a compartir un pequeño video realizado por las compañeras de Si No Nosotros, entonces, ¿quién? Sobre los casos. Bueno, voy a ver si puedo compartir la pantalla. Para empezar a platicarles sobre qué son estos proyectos extractivos, que son actividades que remueven grandes volúmenes de recursos naturales que no son procesados, y aunque a veces las asociamos exclusivamente con las actividades mineras o de extracción de hidrocarburos, también decirles que existen procesos de extractivismo en el modelo agrario, ¿no? En incluso extractivismo forestal, turístico o de extracción de recursos pesqueros. La extracción de estos recursos, la explotación del petróleo, del gas, la instalación de centrales hidroeléctricas, de centrales eólicas, los cultivos agroindustriales, lo que hacen es modificar gravemente el territorio. ¿Y por qué? Porque remueven grandes toneladas de tierra y agua, siembran muchas hectáreas con un solo cultivo, como puede ser la soya o la palma aceitera, utilizan muchos litros de agroquímicos que contaminan el suelo, talan grandes hectáreas de bosque, desplazan animales y plantas y generan muchos conflictos con las comunidades donde se van a instalar. Otra característica que tienen estos proyectos es que casi todo lo que extraen es para destinarlo al mercado de exportación, al mercado externo, y el grueso de las ganancias que se obtienen por estas actividades no se quedan en las comunidades, ni siquiera se quedan en los países donde se realizan estos proyectos, sino en las empresas matrices que generalmente se encuentran sus sedes en los países más desarrollados. Acá algunos datos como para entender la dimensión del problema y cuál es la amenaza que representan estos proyectos en las comunidades. bueno, a pesar de que el 10% de la inversión extranjera directa en el mundo se destina a la producción de estos recursos naturales, América Latina ha captado más del 30% de esta inversión en proyectos mineros. Y el 30% de los proyectos de oro y el 40% de los proyectos de extracción de plata que existen actualmente en el mundo se concentran en nuestra región de América Latina. América Latina es, después de Oriente Medio, la segunda región con mayor cantidad de reservas de petróleo y de hidrocarburos en el mundo, y en nuestra región el 51% de la electricidad proviene generada, ¿no?, por represas. Esto genera un problema porque es un sistema que se basa en la privatización de los ríos, que profundiza las inequidades sociales, porque la electricidad que se produce en nuestros ríos es utilizada principalmente para abastecer a las grandes industrias y a los grandes centros urbanos, y no a las comunidades. Rápidamente, los impactos que está teniendo: desertificación, tala indiscriminada, contaminación del agua, desvío de ríos, afectaciones de las aves. En los últimos años, y hablando también del impacto que tiene el extractivismo en el cambio climático, solamente la minería y los hidrocarburos en nuestra región han generado más de 2 millones de toneladas de gases de efecto invernadero, producen filtraciones de sustancias tóxicas y contaminación del agua y el suelo, despojan a las comunidades de sus territorios, y una legislación favorable a estas industrias ha restringido el derecho a la participación de las comunidades, a su libertad de asociación y a la protesta pacífica. Esto provoca despojo, ocupación territorial y violaciones sistemáticas a los derechos humanos de los pueblos indígenas en nuestra región. Estas actividades extractivas han limitado y privado del acceso a la tierra, el agua y los bienes comunes a las comunidades, y en casos muy graves han llevado, ¿no?, al desplazamiento forzado, y pueden conducir al exterminio de las culturas y los pueblos originarios. Bueno, sobre estas distintas amenazas que tiene el extractivismo en los territorios, así como qué estrategias están llevando adelante las comunidades para enfrentarse a estos proyectos y resistir y seguir disponiendo de su propia autonomía y decidir las formas en que quieren vivir, nos van a hablar las compañeras que nos están acompañando en este panel de México y de Perú, y ellas nos van a responder las siguientes preguntas: ¿qué empresas o actividades están afectando sus comunidades? ¿Cuál es el impacto que están teniendo? Y qué estrategias están siguiendo para poder resistir y enfrentar en estos proyectos. Antes de darle la palabra a nuestra primera invitada, vamos a ver un video sobre el caso que nos va a presentar la compañera Claudia de la Sierra Norte de Puebla, que se llama Tesoro Vivo. Vamos a ver un teaser de este video, y el video completo lo pueden encontrar en la página de Si no nosotros, entonces ¿quién? Paul, o no sé quién, nos va a ayudar a pasar el video.
Un momentito, Julieta, un poquito más despacio, por favor.
Okay.
¿Por qué vendría alguien a destruir lo que tenemos, de lo que vivimos, en donde estamos? Se han ocupado de manipular a las personas para convencerlas y decirles que es la mejor opción.
Si abajo de estos cerros que vemos, que están llenos de bosque, si abajo tienen oro, tienen plata, la ley actual dice que tiene prioridad la explotación de esos minerales.
Van a sentarse aquí unos 15 o 20 años y se van a llevar el oro y la plata, que es lo que buscan, y nosotros vamos a dejar tierras sin vida. Yo y mis compañeros no andamos tan confiados, simplemente corremos peligros de andar de un lugar a otro.
Ese es el riesgo, porque como estamos básicamente donde todo se permite, esto llegaría al punto en que nos tendríamos que tal vez ir de nuestro territorio, pues tendríamos a desaparecer.
Gracias. Entonces ahora le vamos a dar la palabra a Claudia López. Ella es miembro de la mesa directiva como secretaria del comisariado y defensora del territorio. Forma parte de la Unión de Ejidos y Comunidades en Defensa de la Tierra, el Agua y la Vida Atcolua y pertenece al ejido Cruz de Ocote en el municipio de Ixtacamaxtitlán, Puebla. Claudia, ¿estás lista?
Sí. En mi municipio entró la empresa canadiense Almaden Minerals con su filial Minera Gorrión. Es una empresa extractiva que pretende explotar a cielo abierto una mina para extraer oro y plata. Esta empresa ya tiene su etapa de exploración concluida y está próxima a hacer la explotación a cielo abierto. El impacto que ya tiene a nivel local es, ya afectaron los manantiales o acuíferos que se tienen acá en nuestro municipio. Ya hay muertes de animales, hay pérdidas de siembras, de cosechas por el agua que ya están pues entubando y llevándosela para que ellos puedan realizar su trabajo. A nivel municipio ya hay división entre familias, entre vecinos, ya incluso hay pues o sea, ya hay división en la población. Hemos tenido ya estrategias para que este proyecto no se implemente. Hemos realizado actas de comunidades con firmas de la población, donde estamos rechazando totalmente a este proyecto para que no se estacione finalmente en nuestro municipio. También hemos presentándonos en Semarnat, tanto estatal como federal. Hemos realizado conferencias de prensa, hemos hecho caravanas, hemos hecho manifestaciones a nivel municipal, a nivel estatal y a nivel federal. Hemos hecho, bueno, también tenemos un amparo para que esta empresa no entre, que por el momento este amparo es el que nos ha ayudado a detener tantito este proyecto. La explotación estaba aproximadamente para iniciarla, para explotarla desde el 2014. Por todo esto que nosotros hemos realizado, la Unión de Comunidades Ejidos, el amparo es lo que nos ha apoyado para que tantito esta empresa no entre en su totalidad. Estamos pues también cada día pues estando al tanto para que pues no seamos pues más que nada ya manipulados más por esta empresa. También pues hemos buscado apoyos a diferentes organizaciones, lo cual sí hemos tenido pues en su totalidad el apoyo, y pues seguiremos luchando, seguiremos trabajando para que esta minera no nos afecte, para que esta minera no entre y pues termine con la población y con nuestras futuras generaciones y por la riqueza natural con la que existimos y vivimos. Sería todo.
Muchísimas gracias, Claudia, por compartirnos lo que está ocurriendo en Ixtacamaxitlán, en la Sierra Norte de Puebla, en México. Ahora vamos a trasladarnos al sur del continente americano, vamos a ir a Perú. Antes de darle la palabra a la siguiente panelista, también vamos a compartirles un video sobre el caso de Plus Petrol en Perú. Nos ayudan otra vez a poner el video los compañeros de Si no nosotros, entonces ¿quién?
Cómo está nuestra tierra, cómo está nuestro bosque, cómo han dejado la empresa.
Ahí está el hidrocarburos.
Mercurio, plomo, arsénico. Aquí están muriendo con la contaminación.
Este parche no es tan seguro, cualquier rato puede colapsar y va a haber un derrame en este lugar.
Si no vamos a comer los peces ni los animales de la zona, ¿qué vamos a comer?
A este lugar le cavaron y lo que sacaban de los pozos le pusieron acá.
Mi hermano se ha muerto así pues, botando así sangre, vomitando.
Necesitamos que hagan la justicia, que le hagan sentar a la empresa que asume su responsabilidad.
¿Quiénes están de acuerdo que sea ahorita?
Gracias. Entonces ahora nos va a acompañar Yaisa Campanario. Ella es politóloga, máster en Cooperación Internacional y Desarrollo, con más de 10 años de experiencia en derechos ambientales y colectivos de los pueblos indígenas. Trabaja en Perú hace 9 años y actualmente en el programa indígena del Centro de Políticas Públicas y Derechos Humanos, Perú Equidad. Yaisa, adelante.
Gracias, Julieta. Bueno, hola a todos, gracias por el espacio. Primero, indicar que voy a hablar del caso de los pueblos Quechua, Quichua, Achuar, Urarina y Cucama, de la parte nororiental de la Amazonía peruana. Yo trabajo para sus organizaciones, una pena que no hayan podido acompañar ellos. Están ubicados, como decíamos, en la región de Loreto, de la zona norte de la Amazonía. Llevan más de 50 años de explotación petrolera, como han podido ver en el video, con graves impactos ambientales. Las compañías que han estado operando en la zona, estas operaciones comenzaron en los años 70. Las compañías que comenzaron fueron la Occidental, Oxy, en uno de los 2 lotes que hay en la zona, el 1AB, que ahora se llama 192, y Petroperú, que era la estatal en el lote 8. A partir de fines de los 90, principios de los 2000, compra la concesión la empresa Plus Petrol. Es una empresa originariamente argentina, pero que actualmente tiene su sede en los Países Bajos, su casa matriz. Esta empresa ha operado en el lote 1AB hasta el año 2015, del que salió sin garantizar la remediación ambiental, que es un poco el tema del video que se ha mostrado. Y sigue operando en el lote 8, que es un lote que está contiguo a este lote 1AB, hasta el 2024. Las operaciones petroleras continúan en la zona y el Estado además prevé que vayan a estar en actividad por lo menos 30 años más, a pesar de los gravísimos impactos y la falta de reparación a todas las violaciones a los derechos humanos y ambientales que se han dado en la zona. Los impactos, como hemos visto, son gravísimos a nivel ambiental. Se han dado por 3 acciones, que ha sido el vertimiento de aguas de producción, que son altamente tóxicas, a los ríos y las quebradas de las comunidades hasta el año 2009. La otra es que el sistema de ductos y el sistema por donde se traslada el crudo es un sistema que no se ha reemplazado ni se ha mantenido adecuadamente y se está rompiendo, lo que ha significado en cientos de derrames. Solo para que se imaginen, en esta cuarentena, en el lote 1AB, que ahora se llama 192, ha habido 6 derrames, aunque no haya habido operación.
Un poco despacio, un poco más despacio, a favor.
Ya, disculpa. Y además de los derrames petroleros, otras malas prácticas. estas prácticas han generado, como decíamos, impactos ambientales que han derivado en gravísimos impactos a los derechos humanos de las comunidades. Se han violado su derecho a la salud, su derecho a la alimentación, su derecho al agua limpia y potable, su derecho al territorio, pues muchas comunidades no han podido titularse porque la empresa tenía más derechos territoriales que las mismas comunidades. Además, bueno, se han violado su derecho a practicar su forma tradicional de vida, todos sus recursos naturales han sido contaminados y digamos que la reparación de estas violaciones sigue lejos, ¿no? Con respecto a las estrategias que las federaciones indígenas han usado, cabe remarcar que en el año 2011 las 4 organizaciones de los 5 pueblos distintos que se encuentran en 4 ríos distintos decidieron unirse para hacer una agenda de lucha común, dado que los impactos que tenían eran los mismos y los actores responsables eran los mismos, que eran el Estado y en aquel momento Pluspetrol como la empresa operadora de ambos lotes. Así, establecen distintas formas de trabajo. Yo querría remarcar dos estrategias fundamentales para el proceso, que han sido ambas en territorios. Principalmente yo creo que lo que más marca la diferencia es que las comunidades hayan estado informadas, fortalecidas, y eso se ha hecho de diferentes formas a través de las federaciones. Las federaciones cuentan con, las 4 federaciones, con equipos de monitoreo indígena que hacen un recorrido territorial para identificar impactos y denunciarlos a la Agencia Ambiental Peruana. Estos equipos de monitores indígenas llevan 15 años recibiendo capacitación en temas de ingeniería de hidrocarburos, en temas de GPS y nuevas tecnologías, y han tenido un efecto no solo de poder hablar de igual a igual con el trabajador petrolero o con la empresa o con la Agencia Ambiental Peruana, sino que además también han servido para recuperar control territorial, ya que han conseguido ingresar dentro de las instalaciones de la empresa también para supervisar que no haya contingencias ambientales. Las otras de las estrategias ha sido la protesta y la movilización, que han sido lo que realmente ha ido marcando el avance de acuerdos con el Estado. De los diferentes avances muy pequeños que ha habido en materia de reparación, donde se encuentran menos avances ha sido en la remediación ambiental. La empresa Pluspetrol, como decíamos, salió del lote. En el 2015 no se quiere hacer cargo de la contaminación existente y por ello, y el Estado no está siendo capaz, a pesar de las múltiples multas y los diferentes procesos sancionadores, de hacerla responsable en este aspecto. Es por ello que las federaciones indígenas decidieron intentar una nueva vía para buscar la justicia y la reparación y presentaron en marzo de este año, de 2020, en Países Bajos, una queja ante el Punto Nacional de Contacto Holandés de la OCDE, esperando ver si en un espacio fuera de Perú y fuera de la región habría oportunidades de conseguir alguna reparación o algún viso de que se garantice la remediación ambiental y se protejan los derechos humanos. Muchas gracias.
Julieta.
Sí, gracias, Yaisa. Perdón, no podía activar el micrófono. Ahora, para terminar, nuestra última panelista es Claudia Ignacio. Ella es mujer purépecha, historiadora y máster en Ciencias del Desarrollo Rural Regional y actualmente está cursando su doctorado en Antropología Social. Hace 6 años que acompaña a diversas comunidades en el fortalecimiento de la organización comunitaria, así como en la documentación y denuncia de violaciones a derechos humanos a través de la Red Solidaria, de la que es coordinadora general. La Red Solidaria es un organismo no gubernamental que trabaja con comunidades purépecha y nahua en Michoacán, en México, en la defensa de sus derechos de autonomía y libre determinación. Adelante, Claudia.
tenemos varias resistencias que los pueblos indígenas que vivimos en Michoacán, México, tenemos varias resistencias contra proyectos extractivos y que estas resistencias forman parte de nuestra memoria, porque históricamente nuestros territorios han sido despojados, aunque estos intentos siempre se han encontrado con mujeres y hombres fuertes que protegen nuestras formas de vida y prácticas. Desde el siglo XIX, personas ajenas a los pueblos originarios, con la aprobación del gobierno, talaban los bosques y se llevaban la madera. Luego llevaban ganado a estas tierras, causando un grave daño a la madre naturaleza. Estas acciones se siguen repitiendo hasta nuestros días. La tala de los bosques sirve para aprovechar las maderas que hay en nuestros territorios, pero también como una forma de modificar el uso que se le da a las tierras. Donde antes había bosques, ahora hay minas y monocultivo de aguacate. En estas intervenciones que tendré a continuación, les hablaré de dos casos, el de la comunidad nahua de San Juan Huitzontla y el de mi comunidad, la comunidad purépecha de San Andrés Xiróndaro. Huitzontla se ubica en la Sierra Costa de Michoacán, en una región donde la minera Ternium tiene una mina activa en la comunidad de Aquila, además de diferentes concesiones sobre el territorio de Huitzontla. Estas concesiones se encuentran sobre espacios rituales, sitios de cuidado comunitario del medio ambiente, así como en los sitios donde las personas tienen sus casas y espacios para cultivar maíz y frijol. En el caso de mi comunidad, San Andrés Xiróndaro, que se ubica en la región purépecha del lago de Pátzcuaro, el territorio ha estado siempre en disputa por pequeños propietarios, quienes han aprovechado la tierra que han quitado a la comunidad para sembrar aguacate. Ese oro verde, que a pesar de ser un fruto delicioso, en las tierras michoacanas, su producción desmedida ha erosionado la tierra. Además de que ese cultivo ha venido acompañado de actores violentos que provocan incendios, amenazan a las poblaciones y acaban con los bienes naturales que permiten la vida. En el caso de Huitzontla, a pesar de que la empresa no ha iniciado actividades, grupos criminales iniciaron la explotación clandestina en varios sitios desde el año 2013, lo que llevó a la respuesta organizada de la gente de este pueblo nahua. Por su parte, en Xiróndaro, los monocultivos se combaten desde proyectos agroecológicos para cuidar la milpa y los huertos familiares. Con estos dos planteamientos en mente, cierro mi primera participación, resaltando que las resistencias son las formas organizadas en que estos pueblos responden al extractivismo porque se defiende lo que se ama. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, Claudia. Bueno, ustedes pudieron escuchar de la propia voz de las personas que están resistiendo a estos proyectos extractivos, cuántas estrategias y cuántas actividades se puede hacer para resistir y que estos proyectos no dejen de generar impactos o no se instalen en las comunidades y se evite, ¿no? Que todos estos, que todo esto ocurra, ¿no? Como puede ser el caso que comentaba Claudia Ignacio recién o Claudia López al principio, en donde la mina todavía no se instala en las comunidades. Para terminar, hice un pequeño resumen de las estrategias que las compañeras nos compartieron para que podamos compartirlas con ustedes y decir que sí se puede resistir desde las comunidades y se puede siempre que la resistencia venga, como nos dijo Claudia recién, de la organización de la comunidad. ¿Y qué se puede hacer, entre otras cosas, para poder proteger a nuestras comunidades? Por un lado, las acciones colectivas, ¿no? Reunirnos, hacer protestas, hacer marchas, hacer caravanas. Utilizar, si es posible, las estrategias legales, como los amparos en México. Utilizar, estar siempre buscando información, haciendo alianzas y buscando apoyos de otras comunidades que están sufriendo lo mismo y de otras organizaciones que pueden apoyar para resistir a estos proyectos o con la búsqueda de información. Sumarse a proyectos comunitarios sustentables, como puede ser el manejo forestal comunitario y otros tipos de actividades que protejan el territorio. Y por último, Se me olvidó uno que compartió Yaisa, que es utilizar estos mecanismos en organizaciones internacionales para promover la debida diligencia y el respeto de los derechos humanos por parte de las empresas, como pueden ser los puntos nacionales de contacto de la OCDE. Y por último, siempre estar propiciando la unión y la comunicación en nuestras comunidades y con las otras comunidades. Creo, no sé, Reggie, si nos queda alguna pregunta de quienes están
Solo una pregunta, solo una.
Ok, ¿qué nos dicen? Pensado. Pues bueno, básicamente lo que nos están preguntando es si, bueno, de qué forma se pueden proteger a las defensoras y defensores del territorio, ¿no? Sabemos que ha habido numerosos ataques y bueno, no sé si alguna de las compañeras quisiera abundar sobre esto. ¿Qué podemos hacer para protegernos de los ataques que podemos sufrir las defensoras del territorio?
Pues contestarte, Julieta, desde acá, desde Michoacán, compartir un poco con el foro, pues para nosotras una de las enseñanzas más importantes es justamente que las redes salvan vidas, ¿no? Y estos espacios de visibilización y espacios donde podamos ir contando y narrando cuáles son las resistencias, ayudan mucho a poner el foco en espacios, en lugares, en comunidades donde normalmente no está. Creo que es de gran ayuda. Y por el otro lado, pues tampoco cesar la exigencia que tienen los gobiernos de garantizarnos esta protección y garantizar el derecho a defender derechos. Eso sería lo que yo podría aportar, Julieta. Gracias.
Gracias a ti, Claudia. No sé si alguna de las otras compañeras, Yaisa o Claudia López, quieran compartir algo, si no, vamos a ir terminando este panel y le volvemos a pasar la palabra a Reggie.
Bueno, yo en todo caso aportaría reforzando lo que dice Claudia, que son las redes, que son fundamentales y bueno, y contar con protección en territorio de gente de confianza, ¿no? Yo creo que eso es lo que hay que priorizar sobre todo.
Bueno, les agradecemos muchísimo a las tres por haberse podido conectar y haber compartido su experiencia en este panel y volvemos contigo, Reggie.
Gracias, Julieta, Claudia y Yaisa. Muchísimas gracias por todo. Y en inglés, thank you. Our next panel is called Gold Miners Out, a campaign to get miners out of indigenous Yanomami territory in Brazil. This panel is hosted by Christine Halverson of the Rainforest Foundation US. A quick reminder to keep your pace a bit slow. For our translators, Christine, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you. Thank you for hosting, and thanks to If Not Us, Then Who for organizing this village. It's really great to see so many friends among both the panelists and the attendees. So this panel will be mostly in Portuguese, but I'll speak English. So hit the interpretation button if you need it. So we're going to talk about mining and the impacts of gold mining on indigenous lands in Brazil. We have two really active speakers who are going to be with us during the panel. And I'll introduce them in a minute. We're going to talk about mining because, you know, we all know and have heard on other panels about the impacts that it has on the environment, the economic impacts, the social impacts, cultural impacts. and so forth. But the miners right now during these times of COVID are also potential vectors bringing the disease into indigenous territories. So there's a lot of organizations on the ground and communities on the ground are doing what they can to remove the miners. And we'll hear about some of those initiatives right now. So we'll start with a quick video, then we'll move on to our speakers. Dario Kopanawa Yanomami is the Vice President of Hutukara Yanomami Association. He works with his father, Davi Kopanawa Yanomami, who many know as a shaman and leader on these issues in Brazil. He's stayed behind in Boa Vista while his family and others are in the territory doing what they can to prevent the disease from entering and from and he's leading a campaign that was started by the Forum of Yanomami and Yekuana leaders and is supported by around 30 NGOs, including several of the folks who are on the call between APIB and COIAB in Brazil and ISA in Brazil, but also Amazon Watch, Greenpeace, Rainforest Foundation are supporting the campaign. So he'll talk about the campaign. Ivo Scipio is a lawyer with the Indigenous Council of Roraima, which is the main representative indigenous organization of that state, representing over 200 indigenous communities. He'll speak more about another invasion of gold miners into Raposa Serra do Sol, another indigenous land in the state, and the actions that he and his organization are taking, both legal as well as direct action. Great, I'm seeing Daria's video is now working. So first, let's watch the video. It introduces the campaign, and then Dario will go. Tá, obrigada. Dario, vou pedir para você falar um pouco sobre a campanha e sobre a situação na terra indígena Yanomami. Obrigada.
Olá, bom dia e boa tarde. Meu nome é Dario Vitório Copenau Yanomami, sou povo Yanomami. Atualmente eu sou vice-presidente da Hutukara Associação Yanomami. Estou trabalhando há aproximadamente 16 anos na diretoria da Hutukara. Hoje é um dia muito importante. Nós estamos discutindo sobre o problema mundo inteiro. E nós estamos sofrendo mundo inteiro. É muito importante a gente falando sobre as situações reais tá acontecendo nas nossas regiões, nossos territórios. Vou falar sobre atual situações na terra Yanomami. Então, na terra indígena Yanomami, temos mais de 20 mil garimpeiros trabalhando espalhado, e os nossos rios estão tudo poluídos por mergulhos e ameaça de mortes e prostituições, e tem muitos alcoolismos que entram e outros lícitos são coibidos na legislação brasileira. E hoje, o povo Yanomami, há muitos anos, já sofria bastante. Sofremos muito, década de 80, e continuando sofrendo nesse problema, os invasores, ilegalmente, eles estão no nosso território. A gente muito, em povos Yanomami, os Ecuana, a gente está muito triste, muito preocupados. Cada vez mais a gente está recebendo essas violações, mãe natureza, meio ambiente, os nossos rios, e também as pessoas físicas, como seres humanos Yanomami, recebem muito a pressão de ameaça de morte. Há muitos anos, o povo Yanomami e Ecuana já denunciamos o órgão público, as autoridades e as autoridades fora do país. Fizemos várias denúncias. As lideranças locais fizeram uma grande denúncias e caminhamos, são fiscalizadores, como o Ministério Público e a Polícia Federal, o Exército Brasileiro e também o Ministério da Justiça. E também a gente caminhamos sobre contaminação o nosso rio, lá na comunidade terra indígena Yanomami, e protocolamos lá na ONU. Isso já fizemos todo o nosso parte, e como representante da Ruducara Associação Yanomami, fez parte de todas as denúncias, entregamos esses protocolos para as autoridades. Nenhuma autoridade brasileira, como o presidente da República, não nos retornou esse resultado, nenhum assim, mensagem para ele fazer, para ele responder através das denúncias. Hoje nós temos mais de 20 mil, muita gente entrando na terra indígena Yanomami, de avião, de helicópteros, de barcos, subindo onde nosso território está demarcado. Esse nosso território está demarcado 93, 92, mas o nosso território não está respeitado por invasores. O nosso lei brasileira, ele fala, o nosso território é demarcado e proibido entrar qualquer sociedade não indígena. Na legislação brasileira fala. Mas quando o garimpo é legal, eles não querem saber, o nosso território está demarcado. Por isso, o nosso território está ameaçado. O povo Yanomami está ameaçado. Nação Yanomami está ameaçado. Então, a gente muito preocupado hoje em dia. É muito importante os nossos parentes ouvissem essa situação que nós estamos vivendo. O nosso governo brasileiro não está respeitando a diversidade, cultura, o direito de populações originárias que vivem há muitos anos aqui neste país que se chama Brasil. Não é os Yanomami que estão sofrendo, e outros povos da floresta nós estamos sofrendo juntos. tem outras comunidades e outros indígenas, tem madeireiros, clireiros, pescadores, fazendeiros, garimpeiros e outros terras também estão explorados como mini mineração, outras terras indígenas. Então, isso, nós estamos lutando bastante para os governos tome as providências. O governo, papel muito importante para fiscalizar os territórios indígenas. Isso a gente sabe, a gente reconhece a legislação brasileira que fala. Então, isso, o governo brasileiro não está cumprindo seu papel, não está cumprindo seus deveres. Por isso, nós, povo da floresta, povo Yanomami, a gente está denunciando, a gente está falando para o governo respeitar, retirar os invasores nas terras indígenas. Então, isso, e a gente combatendo grandes problemas, problema de saúde, problema de impacto ambiental. Então, falando saúde, o nosso saúde está muito ruim. Os garimpos ilegais levando essas doenças para comunidades. Vou entrar como coronavírus. Agora nós temos problema muito grave. No mundo inteiro nós estamos sofrendo. Não é os Yanomami que estão sofrendo. Mundo inteiro nós estamos sofrendo. Então, isso foi trazido por sociedade não indígena. Nós não criamos esse problema que se chama coronavírus. Isso, o homem branco que pegou baixo da terra, que transmitiu essa doença, e agora nós estamos vivendo muito preocupado, muito triste. O mundo inteiro nós estamos morrendo, e também os povos da floresta estão morrendo esse coronavírus que se chama, para nós de língua Yanomami, é Shawara. Shawara que matando o mundo inteiro e a floresta também. Então, o garimpo ilegal estão levando esse coronavírus na terra indígena Yanomami. Aonde tem muito garimpo, aonde tem muitos próximos comunidades locais, comunidades, aldeias, e os garimpeiros eles estão transmitindo essa doença com os Yanomami. Isso é muito preocupante. Nós estamos muito tristes, nós estamos muito preocupados, não queremos mais morrer esse genocida de coronavírus. Isso a gente está muito preocupado. E coronavírus já morreram os Yanomami. Shawara já matou os nossos parentes, os nossos jovens já matou. Então, isso é muito problema que nós estamos enfrentando hoje em dia na terra indígena Yanomami. Registrando, recebemos com os nossos parentes, a denúncia dos parentes, recebemos os garimpeiros mataram 2 Yanomami essa semana na região do Surucucu, na comunidade Charuna. Nós estamos no luto de hoje. Isso é muito preocupante. É o crime que está acontecendo, como fosse animal matando sem vida. E agora os Yanomami estão tristes. Nós estamos tristes porque a presença do garimpo é muito grande. Garimpo ilegal não gosta o povo indígena, povo Yanomami. Eles não são amigos dos Yanomami. Eles são criminosos que matam as pessoas, que matam para o ser humano. Então, isso, eu estou deixando essa denúncia para vocês, o que está acontecendo. Eu estou falando isso, o governo brasileiro não vai falar com vocês. Porque eu sou Yanomami contando as reais que está acontecendo para vocês ouvirem o que está acontecendo agora. Então, isso é muito preocupado, para a gente denunciou e a gente está cobrando. Precisamos apoio de vocês, vocês são apoiadores, vocês são indígenas, somos indígenas. Então, situação do Yanomami está muito ruim, não é bom, a gente está sofrendo bastante. E entrando sobre campanha, o ano passado, de outubro de 2019, todos nós, povo Yanomami e Ecuana, fizemos grande reunião que se chama Foro de Liderança. Isso a gente tomamos iniciativa, Arro do Cara Associação Yanomami, organizou seus parentes, seus lideranças, professores, alunos, bagés, mulheres, moças, chamaram todo o território Yanomami para sentar durante reunião, foro de liderança. Não se pensa, os ONG não mobilizou essa reunião. Próprio do cara Associação Yanomami organizou, chamou seus parceiros, chamaram as lideranças, chamaram as anciões, sabedorias. Então, isso a gente tomamos decisões, as lideranças locais decidiram como nós, povo Yanomami, podemos defender o nosso território, que se chama Terra Indígena Yanomami. Porque é nossa terra, porque há muitos anos a gente cuidou Mãe Terra. Por isso, a gente defende a ela. Sem terra, nós, povo da floresta, não vamos viver. E vocês também, povo da cidade, vocês não vão viverá. Então, é muito importante, a gente defende Mãe Terra. Então, isso, as lideranças, a gente entramos no consenso, não queremos mais a presença dos garimpeiros na terra indígena Yanomami. Isso que se chama Foro de Liderança decidiu. E também encaminhamos esse documento para as autoridades, para eles ficarem cientes. As autoridades, como o presidente da República, caminhamos assinatura de Foro de Liderança para ele leia essa opinião, é decisão dos lideranças da sua aldeia. Caminhamos para o Ministério da Justiça, caminhamos Ministério da Defesa, Fundação Nacional do Índio e outros, os órgãos públicos, como Ministério Público Federal, a Procuradoria-Geral da República. Isso a gente caminhamos documento para decisões de foro de liderança. Então, isso, as comunidades, as lideranças, decidiu. Então, depois, a gente elaboramos esse plano. Qual é mais importante? A gente pode chamar sociedade não indígena. Isso significa campanha Fora Garimpo, Fora Covid. A gente colocou, porque na terra indígena Yanomami, mais de 20 mil garimpeiros estão dentro da terra indígena Yanomami. Isso a gente está demonstrando para a sociedade não indígena e sociedade e mundo inteiro, para a gente falando na campanha, pedindo as assinaturas, quem gosta dos indígenas, quem não gosta de indígenas, não assina. Quem gosta dos indígenas, quem apoia a direito do povo indígenas, cultura indígena, pode assinar, nos apoiar esse petição. A gente elaboramos petição de civil público para a gente chamar a atenção e também a gente cobrar o governo brasileiro cumprir seu papel e assinar e retirar os garimpeiros na terra indígena Yanomami. Então, isso a gente está fazendo grande campanha falando isso, e eu quero que vocês apoiam essa campanha, assinam, porque não queremos morrer mais. Já morreram muitos Yanomami. Vou dizer para você,
Dário.
no 93, o massacre Hashimun, 16 Yanomami, os garimpeiros mataram. Então, isso, não queremos mais repetir esse histórico. Então, por isso é importante, eu vou deixar esse recado. Muito obrigado pela atenção de vocês. E qualquer coisa, eu estou aqui à disposição. Aue.
Aue, muito obrigada, Dário. Queria, então, apresentar o Ivo Aureliano, que é do Conselho Indígena de Roraima, para também falar sobre a situação em Roraima. Obrigada. E parece que a gente está com pouco tempo, que tem os vários, tem mais painel depois. Então, agradeço.
Então, olá. Obrigada. Tem quanto tempo, Cristina?
Reggie, how much time does Ivo have?
10?
Uns 10 minutos.
10.
Ok.
Tá.
Então,
obrigada.
Take your time, Christine. We've got time.
Hi, Reggie. Hi, everyone. Friends. I speak English a little, but I will speak in Portuguese now. Então, olá, amigos. Meu nome é Ivo. Sou indígena do povo Macuxi, aqui de Roraima, norte da Amazônia. Sou advogado e assessor jurídico do Conselho Indígena de Roraima, que é uma das maiores organizações indígenas aqui no estado de Roraima. Eu trabalho diretamente com 246 comunidades indígenas e uma população de mais de 40 mil indígenas. E também faço parte de uma rede que foi criada esse ano pela PIB, Rede de Advogados Indígenas do Brasil. Nós temos uma rede de advogados a nível da Amazônia e a nível do Brasil. Eu também faço parte de uma comissão especial, que é chamada Comissão Especial de Defesa dos Direitos dos Povos Indígenas do Conselho Federal da Ordem dos Advogados do Brasil. Então, nós temos essa responsabilidade de fazer a defesa dos direitos dos povos indígenas, mas atuando mais especificamente nas bases aqui em Roraima. Gostaria de saudar também os amigos participando desse evento, dizer que este evento é muito importante para dar visibilidade à causa indígena. Isso é muito importante nesse momento tão crítico que a gente está vivendo. Quero mandar um abraço a cada um dos que estão nos assistindo em todos os cantos do mundo. E quero dizer a eles também que são muito importantes. Eu vou falar um pouco da Raposa Serra do Sol, que é uma terra indígena que fica aqui no estado de Roraima. Fui demarcada, já tem tudo regularizado, mas um grande problema que assolava a terra indígena, que causava a poluição do meio ambiente, o problema voltou com muita força recentemente. Nos últimos anos, nós estamos presenciando aqui na Raposa Serra do Sol a entrada de garimpeiros ilegais, e isso tem se tornado cada vez mais forte. A Raposa Serra do Sol tem uma população de mais de 26 mil indígenas de vários povos, e tem 224 comunidades na terra indígena Raposa Serra do Sol: Macuxi, Apixana, Taurepang, Garicó e Patamuna. E abrange 3 municípios aqui no estado. A questão do garimpo, como o Dário falou, tem se expandido aqui no estado de Roraima. Na Raposa Serra do Sol já tem vários focos de garimpo ilegal. E nós já vimos denunciando, o CI vem denunciando essa questão, o aumento do garimpo, nas assembleias gerais, nas assembleias regionais. As lideranças vêm denunciando, pedindo providências, e nós temos feito encaminhamento. O Conselho Indígena de Roraima tem buscado levar denúncia às autoridades do Estado brasileiro. também fazendo uma incidência lá em Brasília, falando diretamente com o Ministério da Defesa e Segurança Pública, no qual foi protocolado vários documentos, dizendo que tem que coibir o garimpo, combater para que não seja tarde demais. E até hoje não tivemos nenhuma resposta. Eles sempre alegam falta de recursos, que tem que fazer uma investigação mais aprofundada. São desculpas que nós temos ouvido das autoridades públicas. E, diante dessa demora, o Conselho Indígena de Roraima tem se esforçado a fazer a capacitação de indígenas para fazer o monitoramento e vigilância territorial. No ano passado, nós realizamos uma grande assembleia para dar as orientações e capacitar nossos agentes, a gente chama de agentes de proteção e vigilância territorial, dizendo qual é o papel deles nesse momento de fazer o monitoramento e vigilância dos territórios. Então, existe esse grupo de proteção e vigilância territorial que está fazendo um monitoramento constante das terras indígenas, dizendo onde é que está o garimpo, se está aumentando, se tem muita gente entrando, se tem equipamento, se tem maquinário já entrando lá, para que a gente possa também buscar providências. E o Conselho Indígena de Roraima tem feito a capacitação de lideranças, nós chamamos de agentes ambientais e territoriais indígenas, para fazer relatórios, fazer mapeamento, informar onde é que tem poluição de rio, se está acontecendo desmatamento, se a monocultura, a expansão da monocultura está afetando as terras indígenas também. Então, nós temos feito essas capacitações. E justamente na Raposa Serra do Sol, devido à demora do Estado e ao aumento dos garimpeiros, segundo informações que nós temos, existem na Raposa Serra do Sol mais de 2.000 garimpeiros trabalhando em vários pontos, principalmente na região da Raposa, que é uma região que fica no município de Normandia, onde tem o foco de garimpo, que recentemente tem aumentado muito, e também na região das serras, no rio Maú, e outros rios. E os próprios indígenas e as lideranças, as comunidades, têm se reunido para fazer a operação, devido à demora do Estado, para expulsar os garimpeiros, apreender o material e também chamar a atenção das autoridades. Esse ano já tivemos uma operação na região das serras, onde foi juntado vários grupos de proteção e vigilância territorial. Aqui no estado nós temos, só na Raposa Serra do Sol, nós temos mais de 100 agentes de proteção e vigilância territorial de várias regiões. E aí eles se juntam e agora estão fazendo monitoramento e já fazendo ações também para chamar a atenção do poder público. Por quê? Porque existe hoje um incentivo aos garimpeiros para que adentrem, para entrar na terra indígena, para dizer, vocês podem, o governo do estado, o governo federal tem incentivado a entrada dessas pessoas nas terras indígenas. E eles sempre têm dito que o garimpo está liberado, o governo autorizou, o Estado brasileiro agora apoia essa atividade, que não é verdade, não tem nenhuma lei que ampara, não existe nenhuma medida jurídica que ampara esse discurso. Então, justamente por isso, as comunidades têm se esforçado muito para fazer essas operações, para expulsar o garimpeiro antes que ele se instale de verdade, antes que seja um problema maior. Mas essas ações têm gerado várias consequências também. As lideranças estão sendo ameaçadas, o garimpeiro está ameaçando, está dizendo que vai pegar a liderança, que vai lá na comunidade, vai sequestrar as pessoas, e também tem causado vários problemas, como furto de animais de criação das comunidades, e aconteceu várias situações de poluição dos rios. E nós temos denunciado todos os meses, encaminhando esses documentos. Mas o que a gente vê em relação a esses garimpos é que existem grandes financiadores que usam pessoas para aliciar indígenas, dizendo que vai ganhar dinheiro. Mas quem lucra são os financiadores. E nós descobrimos que essas mesmas financiadoras, que também financiam e apoiam esse garimpo na terra indígena Yanomami, eles têm se espalhado por todo o território aqui no estado de Roraima. E essas mesmas pessoas que têm poder do recurso, de dinheiro, estão financiando as atividades através de compra de maquinário, montar balsa e comprando alimentação para os garimpeiros. Então, eles estão se sentindo muito empoderados e estão sendo financiados por grandes corporações, empresas de mineração, grandes, que a gente não sabe de onde eles vieram. E, recentemente, nós olhamos no sistema da Agência Nacional de Mineração, que existem vários requerimentos de pesquisa, de lavra, de autorização de garimpo nas terras indígenas, principalmente na Raposa Serra do Sol. Mas nós temos dito, não existe nenhuma lei, por isso precisa de uma medida jurídica legal para suspender todos os requerimentos, todas as pesquisas que estão acontecendo, porque isso tem causado dano às comunidades indígenas. Então, nós temos também cobrado o Ministério Público Federal decisões judiciais para suspender essas autorizações de pesquisa, de requerimento e de garimpagem. Então, existem já duas ações que ainda está em âmbito de recurso, está esperando uma decisão final para suspender esses requerimentos. É a mesma situação da terra indígena Yanomami, onde tem vários pedidos de pesquisa, mas hoje no Brasil não existe nenhuma lei que ampare essa atividade na terra indígena, por isso que é ilegal e precisa de uma resposta das autoridades do Estado. Isso é a minha fala, acho que eu resumi bem claro essa questão do garimpo na terra indígena Raposa Serra do Sol, porque é uma situação que está nos incomodando muito, está causando muito conflito, está causando uma divisão entre os povos até. Então, nós temos que buscar também conscientizar e falar dos efeitos do garimpo, porque hoje o Estado brasileiro, ele fala que o garimpo traz coisas boas para o povo indígena, é o discurso que tem, mas nós falamos, o garimpo causa destruição, vai destruir nossa casa, vai destruir nossos territórios e não temos para onde ir, porque nós somos um povo muito massacrado e por isso nós precisamos viver bem, seguir nossas tradições e buscar um desenvolvimento sustentável de verdade, um bem coletivo para os povos indígenas. Muito obrigado, Cristina. Eu estou aí para perguntas, esclarecimentos.
Muito obrigada, tanto o Dário quanto o Ivo. Eu acho que a gente tem mais uns 4 minutos, bem rapidamente, para encerrar o painel. Eu acho que a gente tem vários comentários, mas a pergunta é: o que as pessoas de fora podem fazer para apoiar vocês, sobretudo com a situação política que tem no Brasil hoje? Não sei se Ivo, Dário.
Olha só,
bem rápido.
Na minha opinião, essa campanha mundial precisa continuar e precisa conscientizar os consumidores dos países. Isso é muito importante, porque os consumidores a nível mundial são as pessoas que precisam conhecer qual é o produto que eles estão consumindo e saber qual é o seu papel nesta causa, apoiar a causa indígena e divulgar a causa indígena, dizer que o povo indígena é muito importante para a preservação da biodiversidade mundial e para a própria sobrevivência do mundial, né? Porque se nós, povos indígenas, fazemos a defesa do nosso território, estamos defendendo não só o nosso território, mas o bem viver do povo global, do mundo. Então, eu acredito que isso seja uma coisa muito importante de conscientizar e manter o apoio, buscar também defender a causa, estar sempre divulgando nosso trabalho a nível global.
Dário?
Tá, a minha opinião do povo Yanomami, eu acho que vocês, como pressionários parlamentares dos internacionais, aonde vocês estão vivendo aí, principalmente consumidores que se fala, né, que compra madeira, que compra ouro, isso é muito importante. Vocês têm que pressionar suas autoridades nos seus países, né? E isso a gente precisa, vocês nos apoiarem não compra ouro nas terras indígenas. Esses ouro que venham de exportações na internacional é o ouro que sai na terra Yanomami, que sai na terra dos Raposa Serra do Sol, que sai em outras terras indígenas. Vou deixar bem claro, esse ouro é sangue, cheio do sangue dos Yanomami. Então, isso vocês como apoiadores têm que pressionar os seus governos, são os seus países. E também parar de comprar as madeiras que retiradas das terras indígenas. Então, isso vocês têm que pressionar os parlamentares e as autoridades para parar esse compra de madeiras que extraído na terra indígena Yanomami. Então, isso, vocês como apoiadores, vocês podem apoiar essa questão dos povos indígenas do Brasil.
Muito obrigada, tanto Dário quanto Ivo, e também obrigada a Regi e a todos da FNARA Stanhu. Obrigada.
Obrigado, Cristina e Ivo, Dário, muito obrigado. Muito prazer também. Thank you all. And transitioning to our final panel, we'll look at racial injustice and how it impacts Black communities in a panel titled No Justice, No Planet. It's a conversation between communities impacted by environmental injustice in Brazil with the Quilombola, and here in the United States represented by the Hip Hop Caucus. It's hosted by my homie Terrence Mohammed from the Hip Hop Caucus. Brother Terrence, floor is yours. Good to see you.
Good to see you. You know, that was a great conversation. It was a wonderful conversation. And, you know, we really want to make this connection, and we really want to we really are happy to be a part of this organization and be a part of this conversation. I mean, the Hip Hop Caucus, under the leadership of our president and founder, Reverend Yearwood, always makes sure that we break down the silos and make these connections, as we're looking right now with the intersectionality of climate justice, environmental justice, and social justice. Because the Black Lives Matter movement is nothing new. And as we're looking at the oppression in Brazil, one of the things that we are very clear of is that Brazil is the next area outside of the continent of Africa that has the largest concentration of Black people, 80 to 90 million Black people that are there in Brazil. One of the movies that always makes me think about when we're talking about Brazil is Avatar. When people are constantly coming into indigenous lands and taking indigenous minerals and their resources, and they're always going through the path of least resistance. So as we watch in Standing Rock in the pipeline, the Dakota Access Pipeline going to their communities, we watch power plants, landfills being put in Black communities. So it's always been about Black Lives Matter, but it's always been about indigenous lives, and it's always been about people of color who have been marginalized and their resources taken, their land taken. As we can see, history of Black farmers' land taken. And we watch how the militarizing of police and armed forces are utilized to push out the people on their land and taking the resources. So there's a global connection as we're talking about this movement, as we're watching an uprising in America, we are watching uprisings across the country. So we have to make this connection, and this connection is necessary for us to have this discussion. Because as we said, we have one planet. And we did a campaign one year called One Planet, One Voice. And we have to have one united voice to save our planet, even though we may have unique situations in our own particular area on the globe. We are all fighting for that one voice to have justice through all of this. And we do have our Director of Operations on, Jasmine Williams, who's also a phenomenal, wonderful poet. And we always want to use hip hop and culture because hip hop and culture is the voice of the people. It gives artistic expressions and lifts the voices of the people that may not be heard through poetry, through song, through music. So our culture expression is very key and very necessary for us.
Take it a little slower for our translation. So you and Jasmine take it a little slower.
Yes. I forgot we're doing translation.
All good.
So I will slow down and just go ahead. and turn it over to Jasmine for a few words.
Thank you to our, there we go. First, I'd like to say thank you to our village for inviting us and having us today. TC really did a great job at presenting the panel. From here, I'll be moderating, but I want to go ahead and introduce the rest of our panelists. So joining us today, we have the powerful pair, Dineldo Rodriguez, also known as Pico, and Sandra Braga from the National Coordination of Articulation of Black Rural Quilombola Communities, abbreviated as CONAC. And we also have the incredible human being, my colleague, known as TC from Hip Hop Caucus and Think 100. Let's see, can we get their videos up? There we go. Hi.
Hi. Oi.
All right. So I guess where we can start right now is Pico, can you share a little bit about CONAC and the work that you're doing?
Bom, boa tarde a todas e a todos. Em primeiro lugar, agradecer por essa oportunidade de estar aqui colocando um pouco da situação das comunidades quilombolas, né? E como elas se encontram também, se encontram neste período no Brasil, né? É uma realidade muito difícil que as comunidades têm, né? Não sei se todos conhecem a realidade do Brasil, mas o Brasil é o país que mais tem negros e negras fora da África, né? No Brasil, 70% da população é negra, né? E no Brasil, aonde que foi um dos últimos países a abolir a escravatura no mundo, né? E nós, negros e negras, passamos a ter direito no Brasil, direito na Constituição, há 32 anos. Há 32 anos. Então, é muito recente, né, o direito da população negra no Brasil. A CONAC, ela é fruto desta luta, da resistência contra o regime escravocrata que existia e que ainda esse regime escravocrata deixou muitas marcas, muitas feridas ainda abertas, e essas feridas, elas se apresentam nos números, né? A maioria da população que está passando fome no país é negra. A maioria da população que está em situação de rua é negra. A maioria dos analfabetos no Brasil são negros. Onde há uma desigualdade social muito grande, né? Onde nós, negros e negras, nós fomos expulsos, né, do direito de ter direito ao Brasil, mesmo tendo construído toda essa riqueza que é este país. Nós, negros e negras, estamos sendo proibidos de ter o direito ao acesso à vida. E esta pandemia, ela mostrou aquilo que nós sempre dizemos aqui no Brasil, né? A desigualdade, a questão da violência, a questão do assassinato da nossa juventude negra. A cada 23 minutos no Brasil, um jovem negro é assassinado violentamente, onde que as balas perdidas no Brasil só encontram corpos negros. As balas perdidas só encontram corpos negros. Então, não existe bala perdida no Brasil, porque ela só encontra corpos negros. Então, há uma ação proposital por parte do Estado de assassinar a nossa juventude negra, de assassinar o nosso povo negro. A CONAC ela é fruto dessa resistência, da luta contra o regime escravocrata, da luta para que o nosso povo seja liberto, né? Hoje, a CONAC está em 24 estados da Federação Brasileira, né? Hoje, nós somos mais de 6.000 territórios quilombolas, 6.000 comunidades quilombolas, espalhadas por todos os biomas brasileiros, na Mata Atlântica, no bioma amazônico, nos Pampas, no Cerrado. Nós estamos em todos os biomas, né? E somos aproximadamente 16 milhões de brasileiros e brasileiras. 16 milhões de pessoas quilombolas. Às vezes, o fruto desta política pública, que sempre nos deixou à margem de disputar essa sociedade, faz com que o mundo, ao olhar para o Brasil, inclusive os próprios brasileiros, quando olham para dentro do Brasil, não conseguem enxergar a composição dos povos que estão nesses biomas e que são muito importantes para a preservação da biodiversidade e da riqueza que nós temos nesse nosso país. Na Amazônia, 70% da população que vive na Amazônia é negra. Mas o mundo, quando olha para o bioma amazônico, não consegue enxergar o povo negro da Amazônia. Nós, assim como também os indígenas, e os indígenas mais do que nós, né, os parentes, porque eles são os povos originários mesmo daqui, né? Nós temos uma parcela muito importante e muito significativa na preservação do bioma amazônico, na preservação do bioma cerrado, na preservação do bioma Mata Atlântica, aonde que nós preservamos vida. Nós preservamos vida. Porque as águas que abastecem as capitais, que abastecem São Paulo, que abastecem Rio de Janeiro, as águas não nascem. As águas não nascem em Copacabana. As águas não nascem na Avenida Paulista. As águas nascem nos nossos territórios. E são esses territórios que há séculos estão sendo saqueados. Meus companheiros, meus parentes indígenas já falaram antes sobre o avanço ganancioso do capital sobre as nossas riquezas e bens comuns. A gente já vem sofrendo com isso há décadas. E a gente tem visto, né, inclusive a pandemia, ela nos ajuda, a pandemia do Covid nos ajuda a discutir com mais elemento aquilo que nós já sempre denunciamos, que este regime explorador, que esse regime saqueador dos bens da natureza é um regime que já não deu certo. Porque a gente tem visto que os números apresentados de quem é vítima desta bendita pandemia, quem está passando fome, é a maioria do nosso povo. Por que esse regime ele não presta? Não deu certo? Porque é um regime concentrador de riqueza na mão de poucas pessoas. E a maioria da população fica à mercê da própria sorte. Aqui no Brasil, a gente tem visto isso, o índice de mortalidade pelo Covid nos povos indígenas e nas comunidades quilombolas é muito maior do que no restante da população. É muito maior do que no restante da população. Das pessoas que estão indo a óbito aqui no Brasil pelo Covid, 62% se declaram negros. 23% se declaram pardo. Pardo aqui no Brasil é aquilo que a elite brasileira achou para dizer que aqueles que tinham tom de pele mais clarinho não são negros, né? Não são negros, mas também não são brancos, mas são negros. 85%, então, de quem é vítima do Covid é negra. Então, e tudo isso a gente pega devido a todo esse atraso que se teve, né, de 520 anos, onde o nosso povo não teve direito a acesso às políticas públicas e o nosso povo não foi sujeito, né, não foi sujeito dela. Né. Nós temos um grande desafio, porque a gente sabe se nós já estamos sendo explorados há décadas antes do Covid, pós-Covid-19, o avanço e o saque sobre os nossos bens naturais tende a aumentar muito mais. E, com isso, aumentar o assassinato de lideranças indígenas, quilombola, dos povos do campo, da água e da floresta, tende a aumentar, porque é onde estão os bens naturais. As grandes empresas e os grandes desmatadores do mundo, aqui no Brasil, o agronegócio só não conseguiu dominar o campo porque existem povos indígenas, existem comunidades quilombolas, existem povos e comunidades tradicionais que são as fronteiras que impedem desse agronegócio se consolidar no campo, inclusive contaminando os lençóis freáticos, contaminando as florestas com agrotóxicos e contaminando o nosso alimento. Então, nós temos um grande desafio pela frente, né? O capitalismo tende a avançar agora, nessa nova fase, sobre os bens naturais, e os bens naturais estão nos nossos territórios. Então, o desafio nosso é muito grande, que por isso a gente precisa de outros atores da sociedade, inclusive dentro do Brasil e fora do Brasil, que entendam a necessidade e o papel nosso daquilo que nós fazemos enquanto guardiões da floresta e guardiões da vida. A sociedade e o mundo precisam entender esse nosso papel. Porque nós ajudamos a preservar, ajudamos a produzir alimento e ajudamos a levar vida para os grandes centros através da preservação da água, através da produção de alimento e através também da preservação ambiental. Então, a sociedade precisa saber disso e nos ajudar, porque junto nós seremos mais fortes. Isso a gente não tem dúvida, que junto nós seremos mais fortes. E é nesse sentido, agradecer vocês por essa oportunidade, agradecer porque a gente sabe que está sendo visto, assistido por muitas pessoas ao redor do mundo, né? E que nos países onde elas estão, existem muitas empresas que também estão aqui no Brasil causando morte, causando destruição, e que essa destruição ela não vai ser só para nós aqui do Brasil, mas vai ser como um planeta como um todo. Ela vai ter um efeito muito grande no câmbio climático, nas questões climáticas, e que não vai atingir somente nós. Então, é importante que todos e todas, indiferente de onde nós estejamos, a gente faça uma frente ampla para preservar a vida, e preservar a vida significa preservar a diversidade cultural e a diversidade dos povos que a gente tem. Muito obrigado.
Ronaldo, if nobody has told you today, I just want to say thank you. We see you. We appreciate you and all of the work that you and Koneki are doing in Brazil. It's extreme. It's so necessary. You said so much there, and what really stood out to me was all the intersectionalities of anti-Blackness and violence against Black people and the way that they manifest with illiteracy, limited access to healthcare, violence through climate change, and violence through climate justice. And I think what we tend to forget when looking at climate justice is that it really is a mirror to how we treat Black people. You know, the reason why we named this discussion No Justice, No Planet is because we have a lot in common with the earth. You know, humans tend to treat the earth as bad as they treat Black people. And this is exactly what this entire conversation is about. And this is exactly what the work of Think 100, our climate justice branded hip hop caucus, is all about. So TC, I'm going to spin it off to you to share a little bit about what we're doing at Hip Hop Caucus and Think 100 and the way that we're driving this messaging forward and raising the awareness of intersectionality and kind of this house of mirrors that we're in surrounding climate justice and anti-Blackness.
Yeah, so our, we have a platform, Think 100. You can go to think100climate.com, think100climate.com. And it is a platform that deals with our activism, deals with our cultural expression. It deals with all of the aspects that engages us. So Think 100, we have a podcast that comes out there on all of the platforms that you can listen to have these real discussions that deal with communities of color, that deals with vulnerable communities, and then actually really confronts social justice issues as it relates to environmental justice issues, and the whole gamut. But I did want to kind of back up, because a lot of the things I wanted to be very clear that the majority of the things that you said are not things that are confined to Brazil. Those are things that are definitely confined to Black people here in America. When we have the conversation of we're denied access. So COVID-19, they say wash your hands, but there are states that the water has been turned off, or like Flint, Michigan, the water is no good and they still don't have clean drinking water there. Or we look at the violence of Black youth in Brazil, and under COVID-19, we're seeing more murders like George Floyd, and the murders that are continuously going under COVID, before COVID, and we know it's going to be after, as we watch greedy capitalism that is still existing. And when you said you all have been suffering for decades, I can say we have been suffering for centuries as Black people here in America. And we look at who has the wealth, the 1%, as we would say, or if we look at agribusiness and how our industry of Black farmers have been destroyed. So as Jasmine said, they treat our land, they rape our land, they take our land just the same way they treat our people. They take our people, they rape our people, they destroy our people, just like they destroy the environment. So the wealth that people and the greed that people want, we want to divest from dirty money. We want to divest from fossil fuels into renewable energy and invest not only in corporations, but invest in the people, invest in the environment. We want to give life back not only to the environment, but life back to the people. So we're fighting against the money pipeline, stop the dirty money, the money pipeline, and stop this this greed that's going not only in Black America but around the world. So the similarities are there. The game book is the same. How they play, how they come in, how they treat the people, how they treat the land to get what they want, and leave people desolate, leave the land desolate. But we have to fight back. And we can't stop and we won't stop fighting back for justice for our people. So when we say no justice, no peace, really, no justice, we will have no land. No justice, we won't have no air. No justice, we won't have any water. And we know that water is life. So we have to fight for the air. We have to fight for the land just as much as we're fighting for the people.
Thank you, TC. Beautifully said. Sandra, we would love to hear from you. One thing that we know is that as these systems begin to fall, and I'm just going to claim it, even though it hasn't happened yet, I'm gonna claim this for us, as we walk into these victories and we begin to dismantle these oppressive systems. I know that we're putting in place new systems, right? Especially in the wake of the global Black Lives Matter movement, there is such a huge opportunity to put in place solutions. And a lot of these may have been solutions that were in place long before, this has been happening forever, but long before the height of violence right now. What are the immediate priorities of Konaki, and what can the rest of the world do to assist in meeting those priorities and lifting up those solutions or those systems?
Boa tarde a todos. É prazer estar participando em nome da CONAC. Meu nome é Sandra Pereira Braga, quilombola. Sou de quilombo no estado de Goiás, Brasil. Faço parte da coordenação da CONAC, e para dizer que é prazer estar nesse momento dialogando com tantos problemas enfrentados nos territórios quilombolas do Brasil. É dizer que para a CONAC é um momento muito importante, né, de dar voz aos quilombolas a nível de mundo, para dizer onde estamos, o que somos e os que estamos passando no nosso país. Principalmente nesse momento de pandemia do Covid, que é assolador a nossas comunidades quilombolas, mas a gente também agradece pelo momento de estar participando e dando voz e mostrando, né, a essa realidade que estamos sofrendo. A CONAC tem feito um trabalho muito importante com os coletivos, né, e da qual faço a menção a dizer que a Colisão Negra por Direitos, a Via Campesina, a gente tem buscado com os coletivos forças e formas de trabalho, com as incidências, com os diálogos, né, nas demandas, levando voz, né, dando voz a esses quilombos e aos territórios. Então, para nós, esse momento é um momento difícil, porque há esse país que o governo não respeita, né, aos direitos. Como bem disse o Denildo Rodrigues antes, já fez uma análise de tudo que a CONAC está fazendo, mas é para reforçar essas questões que nós estamos sofrendo no país, que é o desmatamento, a especulação imobiliária nos nossos territórios, a especulação ela tem atentado de várias formas, porque aos territórios o que importa é retirada, ao desmatamento retira todos esses direitos, a questão da mineração, a questão da água, enfim, são tantos os problemas hoje que a gente hoje vive num problema que temos que denunciar sim, falar ao mundo, aos quatro cantos do que estamos sofrendo, a questão da nossa saúde, né, que agora ficou ainda mais visível ainda com essa pandemia toda, mas dizer também que nós somos um povo forte e resistente, que estamos nos nossos territórios lutando e que não abrimos mão do nosso direito e nenhum direito a menos. Então, isso é algo que nos deixa também felizes, que é um povo de luta, é um povo que não se deixa abater nas dificuldades, mas nós estamos juntos com os coletivos, de mão dada, buscando apoios internacionais, buscando esses diálogos, que é isso que nos fortalece e nos faz ser forte, porque por mais que esse país estamos sofrendo com esse governo golpista que não nos atende, que nos tenta invisibilizar, mas com esses coletivos, com essas forças é que a gente mostra onde nós estamos, quem somos nós. E é esse lado que a gente agradece pela essa visibilidade de nos dar voz, que as mulheres, os homens estão todos lutando de mãos dadas com esses parceiros para nos fortalecer a cada dia. Esse inimigo está vindo aí, está assolando, mas acredito sim que nós vamos sair ainda muito mais forte de tudo isso se nós unirmos, né, com todos. É uma união que ela tem que ser global. A gente precisa entender que é essa união que nos vai fazer forte e que nós vamos dar a volta por cima. Eu acredito muito nisso. E quando a gente diz que o planeta precisa de uma ação solidária, uma ação de mãos dadas, não é uma ação só de um, é de todos, para salvar as nossas águas, nossos territórios, o nosso planeta, porque é dele que nós precisamos para sobreviver e garantir a sobrevivência e a garantia dessa pandemia. Então, é só de mãos dadas é que nós vamos chegar ao mundo que nós realmente merecemos e que nós queremos depois de tudo isso. Porque é preciso pensar no pós-pandemia. O que é que nós vamos fazer? É a união. Se nós unificarmos toda essa união, todos esses esforços, nós vamos conseguir, sim, alcançar um planeta melhor, que é o que eu acredito, e é o que a CONAC tem acreditado e tem feito todo esse trabalho por todo o Brasil em defesa dos nossos direitos, dos nossos territórios, das nossas vidas, dos nossos povos quilombolas no Brasil.
Thank you, Sandra. Wonderfully said. I absolutely agree. We have to share these stories. We have to lift up the voices of Black people and Black women. And I would like to wrap out the panel on you on that note. For myself, an action item is going to be going out into the world and continuing to share the stories and the conversation that we've had here in this discussion, as well as throughout the day. We do know that culture is contagious and sharing stories is contagious. And it's only by sharing these stories that we will be able to have coordinated efforts within our countries and also globally. And I do believe that we can get to the place that we need to be in the world for humanity and for the earth. Again, I want to thank our village for having us. Thank you so much, Konaki, for joining us today. I know we're just about out of time. So again, thank you so much. Thank you for everyone for tuning in to this conversation today.
Thank you, Jasmine. Thank you, Brother TC. Muito obrigado, Sandra e Bico. Muito obrigado também, amigo.
Obrigada.
Thank you for your voice, your courage, and for your tenacity. We are in this together. I'm very involved in all social progress movements, but especially Black Lives Matter movements as a political operative in the United States. Like, I work on Capitol Hill. So I view our strength as global. So the liberation of all Black people, beginning in the United States, but continuing throughout the diaspora, is very important to me. So thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for your inspiration. Thank you, Sister Jasmine, Brother TC. Let's get together in the States and shake the tree a little bit more. We got some good work to do, especially we have an orange monster we need to evict in a couple months. So know that as we get our act right in the States, that we hold you, Koneki, we hold you in our heart. So you are not alone. We are with you. Blessings to you. And thank you all what a day, right? So thank you to the panel, to Julieta, to Claudia, to Tara, to Bernadette, who couldn't make it, but her voice is appreciated and her work is appreciated, to Brother Dallas, to Cristina, to Dario, to Ivo. Thank you all for your voice. And if we close with one thing, if you remember nothing else, remember that we have to speak up. We have to speak up against this injustice. This injustice isn't just happening domestically in the United States, it's happening globally. We are global citizens and our liberation is not just local, it's global as well. So in that global spirit, well, before I hand off to our brother Otis, Papa Otis, I want to thank everyone for listening. And please make sure you register for the events tomorrow. There's going to be a great conversation hosted by National Geographic between astronaut Jessica Mayer and Ruka Subalini from Amman and interfaith leader Audrey Kitagawa, discussing what brings us together. And on Friday, we'll talk about how communications can be used, again, the voice. How can communications be used as a tool to fight to save our planet? So that is Thursday and Friday. If you're moved to support local communities, feel free to donate to Roots That Heal fundraiser. All this information is in the chat. Please buy photography, print photography for communities online, and all this information can be found at Our Village US. And we've been going strong, so let's just end this day of activism with beautiful art and artistry. So Papa Otis, blessings to you. Take us wherever you want to take us. Cut on your microphone.
Bom, hoje é aniversário do Denildo Rodrigues. Vamos oferecer a ele o parabéns.
Is it okay now?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, let me introduce myself. My name is Otis Lumumba. I'm a musician from Congo, DRC Congo. And that's what I do. I'm a professional musician. So we did many projects with the If Not Who, Then Who. If not, Paul and Hugo and everybody. So we did some project in Congo, Republic Democratic of Congo. We went to do some documentary about the climate change, things like that. And I'm so glad to come here to play for you something. And I do teach online, do live from around the world. So I will take you guys in Congo, DRC. So make sure to relax. I will cool you down a little bit. And let's have fun. Thank you. Okay, let's give you a second one.
Yeah, exactly. Keep going. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we mute?
It's hot here.
Before we sign off, rumor has it that it's Biko's birthday. So if that's the case, I'm gonna sing happy birthday in Portuguese. He may not even be on, but he'll catch the spirit. So, parabéns pra você, nesta data querida, muitas felicidades, muitos anos da vida. Parabéns, Biko! Thank you, Otis.
Oh my God.
Thank you, Sandra. Thank you, everyone. I have nothing else to say other than thank you for a beautiful opportunity and experience to be in a global healing circle. Love it. I'm out. Love and grace. Take good care.
Thank you, Reggie.
Thanks, Reg.
Oh my God.
Cheers, Otis.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Legend.
Let's see.